In GMTK's 2024 Patreon jam, I made a game called The Assembly Line. This was my second game jam, and being a week-long jam, I spent quite a bit of time working on it after work during the week. If you're interested in how my first game jam went, feel free to watch my last video on Scaled to Nothing. I started the jam by waking up on the first day and looking at the theme, bending the rules. I wrote some very initial ideas in a Google Doc, such as having a list of rules for each level that must be slightly broken to solve, and entering competitions where you're bending the rules to win. After that, I got ready for work, as it was a Tuesday for me. However, after work and throughout the evening, I wrote down some more ideas. I very much connected with the time loop idea. The idea was that the rules could be normal things you abide by, and the game teaches that going outside your normal routine of rules and regulations can be beneficial. I was also thinking this time I might challenge myself by making a 3D game this time, so I went ahead and got started in Godot. I ended up starting the project by creating an initial level with movement. Wednesday after work, I wrote down more of a plan for the game idea. I went away with the time loop idea in favour of a game where you work in a factory where you could increase profit margins by bending the rules. That evening, I added an assembly line to the game, a moving chair to the line, and a system of assembling items on said line. The next day after work, I added the ability to pick up parts and use them to assemble items on the line. And finally, Friday after work, I worked on the game for a bit but had to be out soon. However, in that time, I was able to add an alternative chair leg colour to use. Once I was back, I added another table and another leg colour. I also finally created a priority list for myself in preparation for the weekend. Now that it's the weekend, I was able to start working on the priority list in the morning. I started by adding some new assemblies, including a cake assembly with a candle. After a break, I added a lamp with a light bulb and a laptop with a screen. Again, after another break, I added the ability for every part to work with every assembly. Additionally, I added a phone that tells you the rules at the start of the game. Later on, I set it to incrementally introduce new assemblies and parts as the game went on. I also added more of a story with messages incoming from a dodgy coworker with hints for bending the rules. After dinner, I added a TV that displays customer reviews for each product as it leaves the factory, and I was done for the day. The next day, my last full day to work on the game, I started by implementing a scoring system and adding some ending text from the boss based on the score. I then added a proper ending where the player escapes the building, added a main menu and pause menu, and created an animation for the assembly line itself. I then got my partner to playtest the game, and thankfully she enjoyed it. As a bonus, she also didn't spot any bugs. I then added some music and sounds, added a mouse sensitivity option, and felt I was ready to submit. I uploaded my game and posted in the GMTK Discord, after fixing a few issues of course. But surprise surprise, there were a couple of issues I noticed on Monday after work, so I went ahead and fixed those up. One was a minor text issue with the TV text, and the major one was for the fourth ending. It would make you do 100 assemblies to reach the ending. I felt that was quite unfair, so I changed that to only 4. And that was it. I felt it went a whole lot smoother than my first game jam attempt, and I think having the extra time certainly helped with that. It wasn't too bad working on the game after work on weekdays, so I'll take the opportunity to do that in my next game jam. None of my code was that terrible either, as I didn't have to end up crunching to finish the game. I'm proud I was able to submit something and be part of the 21 entries. I've tentatively scheduled myself for a game jam in April, so I'll be sure to make a video about that. It's likely to be my most chaotic game jam yet, as I'll be working in a team of 2 this time, so look forward to that. I'm also thinking of making videos outside of game jams, perhaps Godot tutorials, devlogs for the game I'm currently working on, or even stuff outside of games. So feel free to let me know what you'd like to see more of.